Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is the first of a series of videos that I'll be making covering the guns that I own. And today I wanted to talk about my Ruger Mark III. Now the Mark III came in a number of versions, and mine is the Target version with a 5.5-inch bull barrel. As you can see, it is a fair bit away from stock, and I have significantly more money in parts than I originally paid for the gun. These things kinda creep up on you, I guess. Before we get started, let's perform a safety check. No magazine. Empty chamber. Alright, we are good to go, and I'll just drop the hammer. This gun came to me as a former club gun, and I've talked to the guys at the club who gave a conservative estimate of it having seen at least 40,000 rounds through it before they sold it on, and that 100 to 150,000 was not impossible. I'd be inclined to believe any of those numbers, considering the amount of crud I dug out of all of the nooks and crannies of the gun when I first got it in-house. Anyway, let's have a look at what I've done to it. Now, there are 3 changes that you won't be able to see unless I take the gun apart, and I'm not going to do that for this video. The first one is an aftermarket hammer bushing from the Majestic Arms Speed Strip Kit, which removed the magazine disconnect. Now, magazine disconnects are not the topic of this video, but the fact that I removed it from this gun before firing a single shot should be enough to tell you my position on them. The next 2 changes I made was to replace the OFM firing pin and extractor with replacement parts from Volquartsen. The old ones really showed the wear and tear of tens of thousands of rounds, and this was a no-brainer. Now, on to the parts you can see. 2 changes are so obvious that I hardly need to point them out. First, I've topped the gun with a red dot sight. This is a Dr. Sight 2+. The red dot is mounted on a mounting plate, which is in turn mounted on an OFM rail. This sight helps me get on target quicker, well, when I can acquire the red dot, that is, and has helped me get more rounds downrange in a shorter time with higher accuracy. The other pretty obvious change is the grips. These are Volquartsen laminated wood pistol grips. The thumb rest and piston and finger grooves happen to fit my hand perfectly, and I couldn't be happier with them. True, they do hold me back somewhat when shooting left-handed. It's not the most comfortable fit, but I do that rarely enough that that drawback is worth it, and it's also a drawback that is mitigated with training. The grips came with this extended magazine release, as well as an extended bolt release, both of which are good additions in their own right. Another fairly obvious addition is the bolt tracker. This one is from Majestic Arms, and is held in place by 2 set screws. It provides a quick and positive grip on the bolt, and has saved me from a pinched index finger and thumb on several occasions. In addition, it's useful for tap rack bang drills when I have the rare but inevitable malfunction while shooting a stage. Now, because this is a competition gun, and because the competitions I've geared it towards are run under IPSC rules, I have swapped out the original safety with an Volquartsen extended safety. It lets me disengage the safety as I draw the gun, allowing me to shoot as soon as I acquire the target. Learning to do so took a little practice, though less than I had expected, seeing how I came from a Glock, which, as you probably know, doesn't have an external safety. Now, The observant among you may have noticed that there's something odd about my loaded chamber indicator. That's because it's not an LCI anymore. I replaced it with an Volquartsen LCI filler and opted for the stainless version so as to show off the change a little. The factory part didn't provide me with any reliability issues, although it did hamper maintenance, and just cleaning gunk out from around that was a real hassle. The final modification to the gun is the trigger. While the rest of the trigger group is stock, I have added a target trigger, another Volquartsen product. It has a few advantages over the factory version. First off, it has a flat face, which improves my ability to call my shots and helps me shoot better. It also includes pre-travel and over-travel screws, which shorten the trigger pull. Now, you may be thinking, why, if I changed the trigger, why didn't I just go ahead and change out the rest of the trigger group? And this is a matter of two things. First, I saved a lot of money, about $130, by replacing only the trigger. Second, I don't think the improvement would have been worth it. The full trigger group kit weighs in at just over a kilogram. The ones I've seen tested generally measure out at somewhere between 1.1 and 1.2 kilos, whereas this trigger weighs in at 1.3 kilos. It breaks cleanly and crisply every single time. That's what tens of thousands of rounds on a trigger will get you. This was the first handgun I bought, and it remains one of my favorites, regardless of whether I use it for plinking, precision shooting, steel challenge, or the Norwegian shooting program Civilpistol. It's utterly reliable and a tack driver. If I could, I'd take it to the range every day of the week. Now, if you want to check out any of the parts I've added to the gun, have a look down in the description. I've placed links to most of them there. Until the next time.